Hello students, good morning. So in the previous video, we had discussed about module 1, right? We have completed module 1, which was a very simple and easy module. Okay, not much of content was available in that module, but still we need to finish it. We have done that. Okay. Now in the second module, we will have, see from the second module, we will have to take a lot of time because the contents is going to be very vast. Okay, it is not going to be as simple and easy as module 1 because module 1 was just fundamentals and basics of talent. Okay, so fine. So we will today's session, students, we will start with the second module. So module 2, that is to do with talent management and talent management system. Okay, let us start the session. The first thing that we'll be discussing is about talent management. Okay, now what is talent management? Talent management is basically, the ability of people in managing the competencies of employees or talent resources, the abilities and potentials of employees or talent resources, and the power of these employees within an organization. It is all about how you effectively handle and take care of your talent resources in such a way that you are able to recoup maximum amount of returns from them in the form of talent services. Okay, so furthermore, talent management is not going to be just handling or managing people in the organization. It includes a lot of sophisticated activities to be performed by the companies. What are those sophisticated activities? Number one, hiring of talent resources, making sure that you get the best of talent pool to the company, and through recruitment you absorb them, through selection you also try to place them, and thereby you carry out the functions of the company. Second is retaining is nothing but you need to find the best possible ways through which you can have a control over these human resources and make sure that you are able to retain them in the same organization. If not, if they leave the company, they are not just going, it is that value of resource that is going along with them. I mean to say, their experience, their expertise, their skill set, their productivity, all of these things are being carried away by the people when they leave our company and go to some other company. So that is going to become a very big problem because it is going to have an impact on the sustainability of our operations also, right? Hence retaining becomes very important. Then transitioning according to the culture is nothing but trying to transcend them from one specific zone to another specific zone according to the requirements of the culture policy of the company. We are going to discuss about organizational culture, where the culture defines the do's and don'ts, what kinds of behaviors are expected and appreciated by the management of the company, what should be the productivity standards to be maintained by these talent resources. All of these things are being told by the culture policy of a company. So you need to transcend and transition these people from what they are to a desired status quo or a desired position or a status in accordance with the culture policy, the existing culture policy of the company. And finally, you must make sure that we are getting best results from the talent resources as a result of whatever initiative you as a management has taken in order to train and develop these kind of talent resources. Okay, now next is, we say talent management in organizations is not just limited to attracting the best people from industry, but it is a continuous process which basically involves certain key aspects. Number one is called as sourcing. Sourcing is nothing but finding out the various avenues from which you can absorb or take in these candidates or talent resources. Second is called as hiring. Hiring is nothing but you take them, you offer them the job, and you start hiring them so that these people can start working on the targets or the task that is assigned to them. Thereby the individual targets are being met, which is nothing but the overall company's targets also get automatically achieved. And the next is developing. Here developing is purely to do with coming up with some kind of training initiatives, developmental campaigns, which is basically given to the employees or the talent resources in order to further polish their skill set so that they can take up even more challenging jobs in the near coming future. Okay, retaining, as I already told you, you must make sure that you provide them all the basic necessaries that they should be promised and given, and make sure that all the basic facilities, pay, bonus, fringe benefits, gratuity, retirement benefits, these kind of various things have to be given, which ensures a sense of job security in the minds of the talent resources. Thereby the employees will not leave the company, thereby they are going to retain in the same company. One more thing is that, see, you must always make sure that only money is not going to be sufficient to retain employees. You must also make sure that the organization is very talent friendly, which means the organization should not have strong rules and regulations which tries to control the voluntary actions of employees. Okay, it should provide a platform and an avenue where the employees have to be given a chance for them to express their opinions, come up with new ideas, suggest new ways of doing activities and operations. Thereby even they also feel that their say is being considered, so that their involvement and engagement and commitment is going to be much higher. Hence retaining also matters the most. Then promoting them while meeting the organization's requirements is nothing but you must make sure that you promote the growth, promote the career prospects of these employees, also making sure that you are meeting the company's requirements based on where which vacancy comes in the company. Accordingly, whichever employee or say talent resource you feel is most promising, such people can be taken, lifted from that existing position wherever they are, and you can try to place them in such positions where there is vacancies. Okay, in the form of promotions, which is basically done. Now this concept of placing an existing employee in a lower more job into a upper more job based on the productive measures is technically termed as internal job transfer. Okay, internal job transfer, sorry, it is called as internal job posting, IJP. Okay, not transfer, sorry for that. So internal job posting is basically a very advantageous move, a strategic move taken by companies. Because see, if I find out that there is a vacant position in the company, what I will have to do is I will have to place an advertisement on various portals. You know, it can be print media, it can be electronic media, it can be on the company's official website or whatsoever. And accordingly I'll have to recruit candidates, and then people start applying for the job, and then I have to conduct the interview session. All of these things are going to take a lot of time, and it's also going to be more expensive, right? So what we do instead is we go for something called as internal job posting, IJP, which is nothing but you will find out whichever, you will make an assessment of the performance of the existing employees, and whichever employee is performing extremely well and whom you feel is very promising, such employees will be lifted from the seat that they're sitting or the position that they're given to a better seat and a better position with increased pay and responsibility and authority, so that you'll be able to fill up all the vacancies coming up in the company on a very internal way only, in internal manner itself, which is going to be cost effective, easy and quick also. And the next is we say that we need to recognize the talent that can accompany you in achieving your goal. Yes, you need to find the right kind of talent resource. It's not that just because a person has very good skill set or very good experience and exposure, that is not sufficient. You must know that whether these people have the ability to connect and cooperate with all the functions of the company. Now that is what becomes more important. Interpersonal skills, socialization skills, communication skills. You should have an attitude which shouldn't be blocked with a lot of ego and such negative aspects. All of these things have to be taken into consideration when you find the right talent for the company. Attracting them to work for you is very important. So how can we attract and retain or maintain employees? Number one, give them good pay, give them a competitive salary package. Remuneration policy should be very, very stringent. Number two, or say in other words, very flexible. Number two, give them all the benefits, casual emoluments, perquisites, perks, fringe benefits, XYZ kind of facilities, which can be given in order to attract these people. And very important is give them the platform where these employees can come voluntarily, initiate and come up with some findings, discover, implement, execute, and see if things are working according to their plans. So giving them that scope also matters, and attracting them. So you must be very talent friendly. Company should be very talent friendly, or the employee friendly. That is what is going to be more attracting than any other things, right? Then the next is strategically fitting them at the right place in the organization, which is very, very important. According to the experience of the employee, of the talent resource. Experience, number one. Exposure, number two. Skill set, number three. And also according to the kind of work assignments he has taken up in the past. Based on all of this historical data, we have to find the best and the right place for the employee where he can pursue his goals. If there is a mismatch and a misfit between the job and the employee, then that can give you zero results, or it can have a very negative impact on the attainment of goals of the company, which can actually have an impact in terms of profitability and sustainability of the company as well. Then talent. So ultimately, what do we mean by talent management? Talent management is nothing but it's like a never ending war for talent, which is nothing but See, talent management is all about finding the best of talent resources, sourcing them out, recruiting, selecting, placing, training, keeping them with you, maintaining, retaining, attracting. These are all various things that have to be considered. And let me tell you, companies today, as I've already told you in the introductory session, companies don't want just employees. Companies want talent resources. Hence, to find the best of talent becomes a challenge because every company wants a chunk of this talent resource. And when the supply in the market for talent resources is very less and the demand is very high, how can you manage this process? Again, it becomes a challenge for the companies, right? Hence, we say that talent management is a never-ending war for talent. It is a fight between companies to acquire and attract the best of talent resources towards their companies. Okay, so there is also something called a stiff competition to attract talent and retain them in the companies, and that is why companies are also facing a lot of challenges these days. Okay, the next is going to be benefits of talent management. So what are the benefits that companies can get by taking up effective talent management practices in their companies? Number one, the company will be able to find the right person and fit that right person into the right job and position according to skills, experience, and expertise levels. Second is retaining the top talent. Yes, talent management, as we know, in talent management, retaining also becomes one of the elements, isn't it? So retaining the top talent is possible by finding the best ways in which you can attract and keep them within the same company. Thereby, you will be able to have the best of talent resources in your company so that they don't move and then there is no loss of any kind of experience and exposure from the company, because this is what is becoming important for companies these days. Then next is better hiring. Yes, talent management activities. See, one more thing I want to tell you, we will also be discussing about these things in the next coming topics in the same module. There are a lot of application softwares and software packages which are available in the market. Okay, now these kind of softwares are basically used in order to carry out the functions of talent management activity, like hiring, sourcing out the right candidates, placing them. All these things can be done with the help of the softwares. So hiring becomes much easy when you have the right kind of softwares, which is going to be which is going to be a predominant part of the talent management process itself. The next is understanding employees better. Yes, because in talent management or talent friendly organization, we do not go by the concept of rule of law, rule of hierarchy. We do not have strict commanding and controlling kind of format. We don't have a very conventional stereotypical view and perspective in handling and managing talent resources, right? So everything is going to be more organic, more flexible. Thereby, there is going to be very good scope for people to understand each other because of the rapport and the kind of flexibility which is there in the environment, the work environment, right? Then the next is better professional development decisions. Definitely yes, because we are not talking about employees. I repeat it once again. We are referring to people who are called as talent resources here. Because of talent resources in the company and because of their expertise and exposure and experience, these people might be called as subject matter experts or SMEs. Hence, these people, when you have such people working for your company, automatically the decisions that you are going to make and take and implement are going to have a very high quotient of professional development, or we call it as better professional development decisions, because these people know professionally, strategically, which decision will have a good result and return in the long run. Okay, and then we also say that having a strong talent management culture is going to be essential. And by having talent management, it is not only going to do with just maintaining and attracting and keeping people, but it also includes having a very good culture. We are talking about the organizational culture, the work culture, which is being practiced in the company, where there is very good amount of avenues and opportunities given to people to initiate and implement new changes. And people, anybody, irrespective of their position or hierarchy, they can come and contribute to the company's goals, and they can suggest new and alternative ways to better accommodate the resources of the company. All of these things are going to actually have a very good cultural setup in the company, where people can merge, accept, they can come and contribute new information, and they can also go for dissemination. Dissemination means distribution and sharing of what information that is going to become an asset for the company. And the next is creation of employees positive attitude about talent management practices of the organization. Yes, see, when you have a very good talent management module practice in the company, automatically what happens is you will be able to create a very good positive favorable attitude towards the company in terms of the talent management initiatives. And let me tell you, since we're talking about talent friendly and talent management activity, we should not have any kind of a bias, or we shouldn't have or practice any kind of discrimination policy in the company. Everybody is supposed to be considered equal, and you might have hierarchies on paper, but in practice you shouldn't be doing it. The environment should have a very flat structure where anybody can initiate anything and anybody can have a discussion with anybody irrespective of their position or the role that they play in the company. Hence, it is going to have a very good positive attitude kind of a setup which can be created in the minds and psychological aspects of the employees. And then more committed and engaged workforce as a result of all of these kind of facilities that we are giving. Automatically, the commitment level of the employees is going to be high, and these people also engage with the work and that company and the supervisors on a much more personal scale, or say in other words, professional scale and a much more firm scale. Okay, that is also important. Then we go to the principles of talent management. So principles of talent management is nothing but it refers to what are the basic aspects which has to be mandatorily maintained in order to effectively term the company as being talent management oriented. Okay, so the first principle of talent management is avoid the mismatch. What is this mismatch? Here the mismatch refers to you should make sure that there should not be any mismatch between the job that is there with respect to the employee who is going to be placed in that particular job. Okay, there should be this perfect match and connect between the job and the candidate who's going to take up the job. If there is any kind of a mismatch, then automatically he will not be he will be overburdened because he does not have the experience in handling that particular task or job. Number two, he may not have any idea, thereby decisions may not be taken on time, which is again going to lead the company to idle capacity. And third is, whatever task you give to him, he is going to make sure that he will not attain the results on time, number one. And number two, he will also not have the capacity to take up responsibility when there is any problem or any kind of crisis situation which occurs. Hence, the first principle is you need to avoid the mismatch. Second is reduce the risk of being wrong, which means, see, you should not keep it to such extent that you commit a mistake and then you put a sorry figure or you cut a sorry figure in front of other employees or superiors. Always you must make sure that you should reduce this risk of being wrong, which means whatever you do, you make a detailed assessment of the pros and cons of your decision, and accordingly only you are supposed to make the decision and implement it. If not, it is going to have a negative impact on the company also. Then the next is the third principle is recoup talent investment. Now we will be discussing on a topic called as return on talent, where there is a formula also. Okay, now recouping is nothing but regaining or returns that you can expect and get from what you have spent or invested on something. See, companies usually spend a huge sum of money, a lot of money on training and developmental activities for the talent resources. Okay, now how can the company take benefit of whatever it's spending or investing? It is by the way of productivity measures or the performance rendered and the service rendered by these talent resources. So you must make sure that there should be standard measures and metrics through which you'll be able to get back what you have given to them or what investments you have made on training and developing the polish the skills of the talent resources. Such things have to be returned back in the form of getting good service in return for what you have given them in the form of training. Okay, then the next is balancing employee interest. Yes, you must always balance and match the employee interest with that of the company interest. Only then things will flow much more effectively and smoothly. If there is a mismatch in the interest of the individual interest and personal interest of the employees and the interest of that of the company, then automatically people cannot synchronize well, and as a result they'll not be able to be more productive in the long run. And then we also talk about the next one. Let me tell you, this can be very important for your exam: talent management process. The first is understanding the requirement regarding what is the requirement for us in terms of what resources are required, how much money is required, what is the necessity to take up this talent management activity, and all of these things are to be considered under understanding the requirement of the talent management process even before starting it up. Second is you will have to go for sourcing the talent. Sourcing is nothing but finding out the talent resources from various portals and avenues from where you can source out these employees or talent resources for the company. It is more to do with acquiring the best of talent resources for your company. Then the third is going to be attracting. Attracting is nothing but by showcasing what all benefits you'll be giving to the talent resources. Accordingly, you can have an effect on the psychology of the talent resources, and you can start attracting them, and you can also go for the next step of retaining also, right? So attracting becomes very important. Once you attract, what basically happens is these people start applying for the jobs, right? So applying for the jobs is nothing but it's like a process whereby you invite and welcome people to start applying for the jobs which is kept vacant in the company, and thereby these people who are applying are called as recruit. They are recruited candidates who has been recruited by the recruiter. And from the recruited candidates, what we do is we go for selecting the best of the chunk or the best of talent resources. Let me say that, I'm talking about point 3 here, attracting talent. What I will do, I will put a very attractive advertisement on newspaper or the website of the company telling that if you become a part of the company, you will be given all these kind of benefits, these kind of security measures will be taken care of on XYZ. So this is like giving them all the things, giving them clarity regarding what benefit they will get post their placement in the company. So basically what happens is you're starting to attract people. After attracting, what will happen is these people, because they have attracted to the kind of opportunity which is given by the companies and the pay scale and many more things, they will be applying for the jobs, and from those number of proposals which you have got or applications which you have got, some will be selected and some will be rejected. Now this concept of selecting is what happens in point 5. So attracting is attracting them to apply for the job. Recruiting is basically you try to take the applications and then you process it, and selecting from the applications received, post processing it, you will be selecting few candidates for the interview, and after the interview you make the final choice of candidate to be placed and given him the job within the company. And the next is training and development. Obviously, yes, irrespective of whatever experience and expertise people have, sometimes they can fall short in some sort of skills which is required for the company. So you must find out where there is a problem, and accordingly you need to impart such skills so that these people are further polished and they get more understanding regarding the role that they need to play in terms of what skill to be used when, what kind of uncertainty can come in the future, and how to handle these kind of bottlenecks in the future. On all these parameters, training and development will be imparted for the talent resources. After training and developing the employees, we go for retention. Retention is to find the best ways in which you can retain the employee in the same company. If not, these employees are going to leave the company and go somewhere else, which is going to be a loss for the company, because all the money which you have invested on them in the form of training and development is just going to some other company. It is not coming back to you because they're going to leave the company and go at a particular point of time. And then the next is promotion. So promotion activities are basically you are trying to make an upward shift, okay, or the upward movement of the employee from the existing position to a better position with increased pay scale, increased responsibility, increased authority and power. Now that is also going to be one of the ways in which you can retain the best of talent resources. Competency mapping is basically a systematic process where we go for mapping the competencies. Mapping the competencies is nothing but finding out the best of best competencies that each of these candidates have, and accordingly helping them find out where they fall short of what skill, and accordingly you will be able to push their limits also by giving them guidance and support regarding how to further polish their competencies and how to convert their competencies into core competencies so that they become more strong and more skillful laborers or talent resources. And then we go for performance appraisal. So performance appraisal is also like a systematic process whereby we are going to appraise or evaluate the performance outcomes of employees. How do we do it? There is something called as pre-established standards of performance, which is the expected performance and desired performance of the company or the management of the company, and that performance will be matched or compared with the actual outcomes and actual performance of employees. And when you find there is a discrepancy, according to the performance outcome, each of these employees or talent resources will be given a score. A numerical or a quantitative value will be assigned. According to that, the performance will be measured, and accordingly the benefits, the promotions and various kinds of cash benefits, non-cash benefits, all of these things will be given to the employees. And then career planning is all about planning for the career of the employees. Like for example, you need to provide a path which the employee can use in order to find betterment in his career. Like now he is in position A. Now next you need to move to a better position, that is position B, and then go to C, and then go to D. So how does he do it? What skills should he and does he need? How can we impart those skills? How can we try to mold the overall the personality of the employee? Okay, all of these things have to be kept in mind when you go for career planning. Career planning is like providing a career path for the employee, which can be used by these employees into transfer, in order to transcend and then accordingly channelize to the business various opportunities and convert those opportunities into successful positions. And next is succession planning. So this is the outcome. See, career planning is the path to find success. Succession planning is the way in which you reach the ends of meeting or reaching to the particular cadre where you're able to excel in comparison to other talent resources. Succession planning is purely to do with finding, it is like planning a plan which is done for the successes of the organization. All those employees or talent resources who have found out very good amount of success for the company, such employees will be given a plan. They will be given further opportunities and a path which will be set up in order to further polish them and make sure that these people are being placed in very good positions in order to pursue their objectives and their roles in the company. And finally, we exit this process by finishing all the activities, and it is going to be that stage where the employee is going to leave the company and go. So exit interview can be a part of this kind of a session, and all of these things will be taken care of during the exit interviews and exit policy. Okay, so these were the various activities, and then we will be discussing about the next topic, that is talent management challenges. Number one, recruiting the right type of talent becomes a very big challenge, keeping in mind the mismatch or the gap between demand and supply in the market. Training and developing talent is also going to be a very difficult challenge, a very difficult task and a challenge. You know why? Because every single talent resource will have different levels of understanding, different speed of work, different levels of expertise and skill set. Accordingly, to tailor make the requirements of training and developmental activity and the campaigns becomes a very big challenge, because it cannot be done on a very single or individual person basis. It has to be done in the form of a group activity or a batch process. Then retaining talent is very important, because every company these days are trying to do, they're going to any extent to retain their talent resources. Now, for companies which have very good exposure, very good market share, which have very good financial resources, they can stretch their capacity and do much more beyond their immediate capacity, right? But for those companies which do not have that much of earning, which do not have that much of a market share, how can they invest or shell out so much of money which is required to conduct all these activities? It will become a very big challenge for the companies, right? Hence, retaining talent also is a challenge, because it is something where you need to understand what the talent resource wants, and accordingly to you need to cater to the needs of these talent resources, that which again becomes a very big challenge. And the next is developing leadership talent is nothing but you need to find leaders, you need to make the leaders, you need to push the leaders in order to take things much seriously, and you must make sure that all the talent resource who's on the employee scale has to be polished in such a way that he becomes a self-made leader who can guide through the next future coming set of new entrants into the company. We mean to say the other new talent resources are going to come to the company. And then creating talented ethical culture is going to be very, very important, and it's also going to be a challenge, because culture and the culture elements are, they do have varying degrees of acceptance and non-acceptance according to different kinds of cultures that people come from or different lifestyles that they lead. To culminate all these things together and then make one uniform culture policy for the company can sometimes become a challenge, because not all people share the same likes and dislikes, not all people have the same views and perspectives, and not all people would have given the same kind of an exposure to something, right? So all these things can actually make it more complicated to define one uniform culture policy for the company. Okay, and then we have the next topic, that is management systems, where we'll be discussing about human resource management system and enterprise resource planning. So students, this topic we will be covering it up in the next class. So as of now, we have just I'll stop it just here, that is talent management challenges. So quickly I will revise what we have discussed so far. Okay, so we started off with module 2, right? See, we started off with module 2, which has to do with talent management and talent management system. Now, under this, we have discussed about talent management. The conceptual clarity is given to you. The meaning part is also given to you. We have also discussed about the various activities which will be carried out under the concept of talent management. And then we've also discussed about the benefits of talent management, which can be a potential question for your exam. And then we have also discussed about the principles of talent management, which can also be important for your exam. And then we've also explained talent management process. So this can be a question which can probably come for 10 marks for your exam, so you need to focus more on this. And we have also discussed the various steps in the points in a talent management process. And then we have also discussed the talent management challenges that are being faced by talent management companies on a larger scale. Okay, so we have discussed all of these topics in detail. In the next class onwards, we'll be starting with managing systems, and from there on, whatever is left out in this particular module, we'll be discussing. So my next video will be on that. So you need to understand if there is any kind of a discrepancy or any kind of an or understanding issue, let me know. I'll help you out. And for today, we call it a day, students. Okay, students, thank you, and we shall meet up in the next session. Okay, bye, students.